How you doing, people? Today's date is 24th of the 9th, 2019. I'm going to do a video, people. It's important that people pay attention to this video because everything in this video is true and accurate and can be verified. This video relates to the photo card, people, the scam and how you're being extorted money from, because this here is not the license for the fiction, right? It comes in two parts. You get a green certificate type thing with all your entitlements, and this here is a photo card, right? Now, people, so we're clear, and this is verified. The DVLA is a dead legal fiction that has no life. The equivalent is the driver vehicle licensing agency is the same, a dead legal fiction that has no life, and that is a verifiable fact. There is no man or woman called DVLA or driver vehicle licensing agency, and that is a verifiable fact, right? Now, they send you a letter to renew this bit of rubbish here. It was used to be 5 year, now they put it up to 10 year, right? Now this isn't the man or woman, this is the fiction, the all capital name, a person that does not exist. This is just a card with an image of the man or woman. It is not the man or woman, it has no life. Verified. Recently, people, I get a letter from the fiction known as Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, and this letter is a reminder: your photo card driving license is due to expire and you must renew your driving license now. Now, I've just told you the difference between the photo card and the license. The word trickery is right in front of your eyes, people, right? It says here, our records show that your driving license, which must by law be renewed every 10 years, is due to expire. Well, technically, it is not the man or woman's license. They're tricked to create a fiction. When you fill in their application forms for these so-called licenses, it's got to be done in uppercase letters, all black ink. And when you put your sign initial, you create a contract unknowingly. And then create a fiction. And that's a fact, people, right? Because if it was for real, the man or woman would be walking about with a photo card or a driving license attached to them, right? Now, there is 4 options on this forum, right? It gives you a warning. Please use one of the options opposite or you may lose your entitlement to drive. You will not be allowed to drive. Says who? What man or woman is making that claim? Because Driver Vehicle Licence Agency and DVLA can't make that claim, and that's a fact, right? Because it's dead, it doesn't exist. It's classed as a person, a corporation, a mask that men and women that commit fraud hide behind, and that's a verifiable fact. Now, you have option 1. What you must do now, you as a mask, right? You can go online and use a valid passport, and they'll use the photograph from the passport, right, to create this photo card, or a valid debit card or credit card. Now, people, I've told you in previous videos the banks are involved in this, right? The men and women that represents the so-called entity known as bank. On your debit card or your credit card, the name on it is all uppercase letters, right? Again, the dead legal fiction. And it's the same when you fill in any papers, when you get into open an account, a mortgage or a credit card debt. When you sign that, you create the credit. I've told you this already. A lot of people are not aware of this. But when you fill in black ink, uppercase letters, all capital letters, you create the legal fiction, and that's a fact, right? The second option is you can go in person to a post office. Do you get that there, people? Not man or woman, person, right? In person, right? Now, I'm going to show you this, right? Top left hand corner, people, there's the all capital name and address. And the right hand side, reminder. Alright? Now, At the back of the letter it says A, fee and how to pay. License type, renew your license, right? The online fee is £14 to do it online, right? So, a bit of arithmetic for the people, right? If you've got 1 million men and women registering for this nonsense at £14 a pop, that is £14 million they're making out of this bit of plastic, right? And it's not even yourself it's on it. It's an image of the man or woman, right? It's a fraud. And if you go to the post office, it costs you £21.50. So again, arithmetic, if you've got 21 million, a million people at £21.50, you've got 21 million plus profit on this card, right? So you're being conned, people. That is their people. Don't take my word for it. People that's had that will see that, but a lot of people will just follow this in or do whatever they want them to do, right? I've not done that. I've ignored this lot of people, and I'm going to keep ignoring it, right? Now, people, sometime later, I got another letter from the dead legal fiction driver vehicle licensing agency, and this time the letter is in red and black. This is to frighten the men and women, right? This thing has power or authority over a man or woman, which it doesn't because it has no life. And people need to get the gist of this bullshit. You must renew your expired driving licence now or risk not being allowed to drive. Again, who's making that claim? What man or woman, right? Again, DVLA, driver vehicle licensing agency, can't make that claim. It has no right of mind to contract, and no man or woman can make a contract and agreement on its behalf. It is dead speak, which means no life, right? It says here again, on our records show that your driving licence has expired. It must be renewed every 10 years by law. Again, people, statutory legislation, statutory law is for the person. The legal fiction, it doesn't exist. This is where the trickery becomes disillusion to the people because they don't understand it, right? And again, you have these options. Lose your entitlement to drive, or you will not be allowed to drive, right? And paying up to £1,000 fine. Not being able to get motor insurance, right? Or face prosecution if stopped by the police. Again, people, I've ignored this nonsense here, right? At the back of this letter, it says, renewing your licence and the fee online is £14. Again, 1 million times 14 is 14 million. 1 million times 21.50 is 21 million plus profit, right? For a piece of card, right? Where did they get the value for this to start off with? And to reinforce what I'm saying here in this argument is, that is an image of the man or woman. That is not you. And I'll prove this in a short period of time, right? As you can see at the back of this one, people, the address is in the all capital names. Letters, right? That's a dog Latin. Doesn't exist, right? A fiction that does not exist. That's the trickery. And it's the same options online. Passport, they'll take the photograph and add it to the license for the fiction and send it to you, or your debit card or credit card, which is another fraud. Alright, people? Or option 2, again, in person. Go to post office in person, right? Now, people, when the police officers in green short sleeve vests or green jackets stop the man or woman and their property, known as car, they are looking to interact with the person, not the man or woman, because everybody in the legal system, legal society cannot deal with a man and a woman, because everything in every statutory legislation, Road Traffic Act, Antisocial Behaviour Act, Council Tax, everything we act relates to a dead legal fiction, and everything has to be filled in black ink. And if you fill it in blue ink, they'll send it back to you, and the excuse they use is that it might not be picked up with the scanner, which is a nonsense because the computers are so sophisticated. Blue, black, green, red, pink, orange can be picked up. They're just paid liars, telling you lies, misleading you, right? Now, when you fill in the form for that, you create a contract. And when you put your wet signature on any forms, any legal paperwork, you create a contract unknowingly. And you create a fiction known as person. And that's a verifiable fact, and I know that and I can prove it. And I have first-hand knowledge, because I deal with this nonsense all the time with the legal system, legal society. They're paid liars, people. No matter what man or woman, what legal position they are in, they are paid liars, right? Now, Section 163, Section 164 and Section 165 of the Road Traffic Act relates to person. When these people interact with you with green visual, short-sleeved vests or green jackets in the capacity as officer, they're enforcing policy, a rule, a regulation and a policy. It is not law, right? When you are asked, or the man or woman is asked for this here, the license or photo card, they are looking to make joinder with the man or woman as a person. An example would be a friend of mine a couple of months ago got stopped for a routine check, and they asked the man for his license. He took it out of his wallet, or wherever he took it for, and gave it to the officer. And the officer asked him and pointed to the photograph on the card and says, "Is that you?" And he replied, "Yes." Now, I've told this guy how to deal with certain situations, and he just didn't listen and got himself into bother and got a fine on the spot for being stupid. Not because he committed a crime. To commit a crime, there's got to be an injured party or a man or woman. Party is their language, but man or woman is common language, right? He gave the name, he gave the date of birth, and all the other questions he answered the way they wanted him to answer. So therefore he created joinder and gave them power over him. So when I spoke to the guy on the phone, he phoned me and told me what he had done. He says, "I think I've messed up." He told me that they asked him for the license, and I stopped him there in his tracks, and I said to him, "Well, let me answer the rest of the questions. The first question they asked you is, on the license, the photograph, was that you?" And you agreed it was. He says, "Yes." You told him the date of birth, you told him all the information they asked, "No problem." He says, "Yes." I says, "Well, there's one main question I have to ask yourself." And he says, "What would that be?" I says, "Who was travelling or driving the car?" And he says, "What do you mean?" I says, "Who was behind the wheel of the car, manoeuvring it? Was it yourself, or was it the driving licence or the photo card?" And he says, "Myself." And just as he says that, people, he realised what he had done. Because how can that, right, if that's you, why is that not driving the car, as they call driving, or manoeuvring the car? It's only a man or woman that can make things happen. And that's a fact, a verifiable fact, right? He's now learned from his mistake, right? He's waiting to go to court, and he's been told to send the summons back. Addressee not recognised, return to sender, and that's what he's been doing for the last couple of months. There's other people doing something similar with different circumstances. Now people, I want to prove a point here. It's going to be quite funny because you're going to think I'm quite stupid, but I'm not really quite stupid because it's really logical what I'm about to do. And people with common sense will understand what I'm doing. Are you Robert Sproul? I can't hear you. Are you Robert Sproul? I still can't hear you. Now there people, I've just slapped that card, right? Did you hear it scream? Did you hear it yelp? Did you hear it answer myself? I've asked the name and it's not answered. Why would that be, right? And the common answer in common English, in common language would be, that is not the man or woman. That is a fiction. It's dead. It has no life. And this is where the people are being conned and need to waken up to this nonsense with the legal system and legal society. On that card is a photograph of an image of the man or woman, but it is not the man or woman. That's how simple this is, people. And a lot of people know this, but the biggest majority of them are blind to it and don't know this, right? And I've just proved the point. If you're not happy with that, try it yourself and see if your photo card answers you. Even better, try it with the so-called birth certificate. Ask it the name and see if it answers you. Slap it, I guarantee you the same reaction will be nothing, because it's dead, it has no life, it cannot be the man or woman. Now people, I'm going to put a video up, this one, right? And I'm also going to attach a phone call that was made to the entity known as DVLA, Driver Vehicle Licensing Agency, and I spoke to a female, a woman, right? And I asked certain questions about this photo card, and it's confirmed or verified on the call, if you're listening to information, that she said it's the photograph that has got to be renewed, because you can't have somebody 10 years later jumping about as if they were still the same image on the photo card. She also told me that I could drive, well, I'll let her use the word drive, right? Travel, as far as I'm concerned, right? As long as I'm non-commerce. My car. Now I also asked a question, people, and this is the bit you have to pay attention in this call. In 2014 I had a class 1 lorry licence for the fiction, right? Because it wasn't the fiction that filled in, it was the man that filled in the paperwork and signed it and created joinder. When I didn't know at the time, I was ignorant to the fact that I know now things would be done different and challenged. I never gave a medical certificate in 2014. I did not consent to giving a medical certificate to this fiction and give information, medical information. I had nothing to hide, but I still did not consent. And I did not consent to paying £50 for this certificate. Plus I had to pay a fee to keep the so-called licence going as well, so I was getting extorted twice, right? There's nothing wrong with me medically, people, right? When I spoke to this woman and challenged her on that, and I said, in 2014 you took an HGV class 1 lorry licence off me, and she said, oh, that's not a problem, or words to that effect. If I was prepared to go get a medical certificate and send it with the application to renew the photo card, I would get the licence reinstated. And I asked her on the call, people, even 5 years later, she says, oh, the licence is just put aside. So what they're actually doing, people, is misleading you, committing fraud, because you've paid for something and you're being extorted money from, and they're stealing it without your consent. And this proves the point in this video, especially on this call, people, and you'll see it cannot be rebutted or denied. The information is there. And I'm happy to share it just to prove the point. The next time you're pulled at the side of the road with people in uniform or fancy dress, because that's what it is, most of the time, if they're in green vests or jackets, they won't be wearing their hats, right? Because they're corporate. They're a private corporation. Police Scotland is a private corporation. They're not constables. They're using two statuses whenever it suits. An example would be if you commit a common law breach of the peace, you get arrested under common law. But when you go to the corporate place of business, for example, down the road from myself, Helen Street, it's changed to statutory law. Right? It's a statutory breach of the peace, and it relates to person. And if you look at the paperwork they're filling in, or any paperwork you get, it's in black ink. All capital name. That's because that's not the man or woman. And again, they can't deal with a man or woman. So ask them, who is it they are addressing? The person, or the man, or the woman? And I guarantee you they'll say person, because they cannot deal with a man or a woman. Listen to this call, people. You be the judge, you be the jury of what I've just told you in this video. I'm happy to put it up. I've got nothing to hide. And it proves again the fraud with the dead legal fiction, the DVLA, known as Driver Vehicle Licensing Agency. And remember this, people, it's dead. It cannot do anything. Only the men or women that represent the fraud that's being used against the people can do it. and they're committing fraud and uttering false documents because it's for the legal fiction, it is not for the man or woman. And while they're committing fraud, they're using writing, words and conduct and coercion, which is a crime, to extort. They're actually using extortion as well. If you don't do this, we're going to do that. They might be able to do that against the person when you fill in the papers and accept liability and surety that you are a person, but they cannot do that to the man or woman. Anyway, people, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this information, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Rob S. And please, please people, England, Ireland and Wales and beyond, share this video, because it is the same principle throughout. Every country has licenses, and it's entities that's extorting money for the people, the men and women. And that's the way it is, people. People have to waken up. People have to challenge everything. There is an ABC rule, people. Accept nothing. B, believe nothing, especially with people that represent a dead legal fictions, dead entities, legal system, legal society, and challenge everything, no matter how small or how big. Challenge everything. Okay, people, I'm going to leave it there.
Now through to the driver's inquiry section. To protect your data, we will not give out driving license numbers to anyone. We now have 5 options for you. For all medical inquiries, including ongoing cases or advice on a condition, press 1. For advice on renewing a license, or if your call is about anything you have received or are waiting to receive from us, press 2. To replace a license, if you are waiting for a driving license, ID documents, or anything else, press 1. For assistance with a license renewal form, you are unsure how to renew, or if you don't have a renewal form, press 2. If we have contacted you about any driving offence,
if you are due to renew your license at age 70 or over, press 1. Or you are renewing your license due to a medical condition, press 2. For photo renewals, press 3. If you are reapplying after a disqualification or because your license was taken off you for any other reason, press 4. For anything else, including the renewal of lorry.
Your call is now in a queue for an advisor. Please note, by continuing with your call, you consent to it being monitored and recorded to ensure quality of service.
Good afternoon, you're through to Amelia. How can I help you today?
I'll tell you, I phoned earlier, I'm a bit confused after the call, so I'm phoning back to verify something. Right, I've got a letter to renew the driving licence.
Yes.
I don't have a computer. I don't have a passport. I've been looking this morning for the post offices that have the facility. I've been to 5 of them. They don't have the facility. I know there's some have the DVLA thing, right? Now.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yep. I tell you what. We'll take some details. We'll have a look to see what you need to do, and then I can give you advice on what your options are. Okay.
She said that the female I was talking to earlier said she was going to send it to forums, right? The bit that confuses me the most is on between 17th of the 8th, 95 and the 24th of the 6th, 14, I had a HGV class 1 and another licence at the same date. That's expired.
Right.
I've got other lorries on this as well as no expired to 2034.
Right, okay. What that means is normally when you apply for lorries or bus categories, you have a medical, don't you?
Right, well, I never got the medical in 2014, but the female says I can get a medical even though it's 2019 and still keep the lorry licence.
Yes, you can.
Right, that's the bit that confuses me. Right, now, how am I going to, she said she was going to send me a form for the medical and also a form for to renew this licence, but she says I cannot really renew the licence unless I surrender the lorry licence, and I don't want to surrender the lorry licence.
Well, you wouldn't need to. Right, let's have a quick look. Can I take your surname?
Sproul, S-P-R-O-U-L.
Thank you. And your first name and any middle names, please?
My first name only is Robert.
Thank you. Thank you. And your date of birth, please?
The date of birth is the 18/06/64.
Thank you. And what's the first? Okay. So, you passed the test in the lorries, yes?
95.
Right. Yes, I can see that. Okay, now, Right, okay. So you didn't renew when you did your last lorry renewal.
They expired
Okay,
in
you did not,
2014.
yes, I can see that because it is showing as part of it expired in 2009. Okay, that was for the buses.
Right.
Okay, but you can renew them. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, your car license is actually valid until 2034. So that would be the day before your 70th birthday.
Right.
However, once you hit 45, you renew your lorry or bus categories every 5 years for the medical.
Okay.
So because you've got the test passes there, they don't go anywhere. Okay, they just sit in the background.
Okay.
Okay, so you can do that renewal if you want to. That would mean a medical.
Okay. It would just be a case of filling in the medical form and go for the medical.
Yes, go for the medical with the GP or the medical provider and fill it in the form and include in your licence and one passport style photograph.
Okay. Now, the length of this pass card license, this is the thing that's concerning me just now. Right. It's due to expire. This is the question I want to ask. See how on the license it says 2034. Right. Well, 34.
No, the renewal, the date on the front of your licence means your photo card needs to be renewed.
Okay.
Okay? So it's because we can't have everybody looking like they're 21 forever.
I
So you're
understand that.
required to renew it every 10 years with a new photograph, okay?
Okay.
So if you're not doing the lorry or bus renewal, you'd need to pay £17 by post to renew the licence with a new photograph, include a photograph.
So the only other expense would be the cost of the medical for the doctor, yes?
Yes. So if you go for the medical, you don't pay to renew the licence with a new photograph. It's all done as one.
Okay, what was I going to say? The female says that because I'm waiting to send in for them, I can still drive my car. Is that correct?
Oh yes, of course you can. That's the date for 2034.
Okay, so that the license is valid, even though I've got to renew the photo. It's just the photo's
Yes.
the problem, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the only
So your
problem.
car licence is valid.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So could you verify for me while you're on the computer, please, if the forms have been sent out, the applicable forms?
I can't see if the forms have been sent out, but I can certainly make sure they are. I mean, if I have to, I'll send them out again. That's no
Could
problem
you
whatsoever.
also send me a copy out too, please, so I've got a guarantee you get one of them, if you don't mind?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. And you're still at this address?
Yes, I still at this address. I've been here all my life.
All right, no problem at all, sir. Right, okay.
So, just to verify the license is valid to 34, yes?
Yes, there's a date on the back. It shows your car license.
That's right.
Okay. So, yeah, you're valid to drive your car. It's just we need to renew it every 10 years.
So what I have to do, what is it, that's one more, I know I'm a bit of a pain, but can I see what I've got to do with this form? See the form you're signing out for the license, what did I do?
Right, right, you're going to complete your personal details. You don't need any ID.
Okay.
Right, is it just number 1 Lawn Street or is it a flat?
It's number 1 house, number 1 flat position 2-2.
Right, so number 1.
Flat
position. And then flat 2-2.
2/2, yes.
Right, okay, let's have a quick look. Because they're all over the place. Right.
But if you sent it just to one Lawn Street, I would still get it anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I can only, right.
If you just send it to one Lawn Street,
So
I'll still get it.
2/2, number 1 Lawn Street.
That's my house, yes.
Right, brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. Right, if I get those out to you, there we are. Right, I've requested those to come out to you now, okay?
That's brilliant, great stuff.
Allow maximum of 2 weeks to receive it, but your license is still valid for you to drive a car.
Okay, so I don't need to worry about it, no?
No, you don't need to worry about it.
It's only the photograph is the problem.
It's the photograph, yes.
Okay, thank you for your time and you have a lovely day.
And you. Thank you. Pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.